Welcome to another episode of my podcast That's Fine With Me. Today we're talking about fast fashion conglomerates, LVMH, Dior Scandal, and many, many more. If you're interested, stay tuned. We're gonna get started. Well, fast fashion, I guess most of you have at least a clue what this is going to be about. Basically, fast fashion is a company that is producing some design clothes that is related to a luxury product design, or at least something that is super, super trending right now. And at first, years ago, years prior, fast fashion mostly related to luxury products. But for now, in 2024, a lot of luxury products are going after different fast fashion trends as well, because TikTok is one of those platforms that is actually sending trends, and a lot of companies, they really want to earn money out of it. A lot of the companies, they want to offer some of their options and some sponsorships. And of course, a lot of TikTokers, vloggers, YouTubers, basically influencers and celebrities are showing a lot of ways you can look pretty much good, but cheap. Not cheap. It didn't sound well. You can afford a lot of different products from Sheen and Temu, maybe H&M and Zara. Those are fast fashion companies that are offering a lot of different products, and especially clothes that are super quite affordable. About Sheen and Temu, basically maybe some Amazon finds, but at the same time, I guess H&M and Zara, they're not super affordable for now, because we're going to dive into this a little bit later. Basically, this is a problem with taxes that they have to pay, and especially shipping problem and shipping costs. A lot of fast fashion companies, and not even these type of products, but I guess some luxury products, some luxury goods as well, they're manufactured in China. The eventual cost of your product is going to be specifically divided from the material of the product, from a labor, and then from the shipping. And basically, some retail stores, they have to pay for their workers, they have to pay rent. Mainly, we are going to calculate all of these costs, and then eventually you're going to get the final product. And I'm going to tell you why is it a drastic change, not even change, but gap between H&M and maybe even Zara products and some Sheen, because all of these products are manufactured and made in China and shipped from China. But what is so different between them? Two major websites that are super trending right now. It's Sheen and of course Temu. So Temu is a US subsidiary company of a Chinese company that is called Pinduoduo. Pinduoduo is a e-commerce Chinese company that is producing and sort of manufacturing some of the products, e-products, like digital products basically for you guys. And it's similar platform as Amazon, because a lot of different companies and small businesses can apply and actually sell their products on Temu. What they're doing, they're making sure that US buyers are gonna get access to the Pinduoduo version of a Chinese e-commerce website. Something like this. It's a little bit different, but still it's a subsidiary company of a Chinese website. And then of course we're going to talk about Sheen. So Sheen was founded by Chris Su. I guess he's a Su. He's a billionaire, and he's operated by Rocket Business PTC. The difference between Temu and Sheen is, I mentioned this earlier, Temu is a platform that you can sell your products as Amazon products and some different goods. But Sheen is purchasing some products from Chinese factories and then reselling this on their own website. They're not allowing other sellers to promote their goods on the website, so they're not giving the platform for other sellers. There is a difference. And of course, a lot of people all over the world, they're hooked on Shein products because they're cheap, they're trending. The quality, I can tell it from my own experience. I purchased some products from Shein and a couple of t-shirts, a couple of shirts, even bags, and the quality is really nice. I can't say it's very poor quality material all the time. You have to read a description before you purchase anything from anywhere, and basically you can get really nice product for very small amount of money. Shein are uploading 10,000 items on their website every single day, and this is a problem of fast fashion because they're purchasing a huge amount of clothes from different factories, and those factories are producing this type of clothes. And then as much as they sell, they're still not selling a huge amount of these goods. And that's why they need to dispose it or burn and, throw it away. And it is creating some sort of problem between the labor that was really low paid Then some materials, they had to be manufactured as well. And at the same time, some other like shipments. How do they make this income that big and that huge, I'd say? Because they at least have to pay taxes, and for the shipment, a lot of this, let's say, taxes has to be paid. But it's really important to know that they're saving on duty fees. And it is interesting because duty fees are paid from the packages, the cost of the packages over $800. But most of the time, Sheen does not sell this expensive products. It's really cheap quality and sometimes cheap products itself. That is the main reason they estimated the average person purchasing something from Sheen is paying maybe $100 per month. That is the main reason why they're saving that much money on the duty fees, because they know when they're importing to United States, it's less than $800 and they're saving a huge amount of money. As well as Tamo. Tamo is average paid, let's say, good under $25, and it's still covering a lot of this duty, let's say, fees problem. And let's compare this to a little bit different fast fashion company as H&M and maybe even Zara. H&M in 2022 paid $205 million for those duty fees. The difference between those, I guess, Sheen is operating by the website, and they can create website from any location, any part of the world, and people are going to get access to this website and just order from website. As well as H&M and probably Zara, most of these companies, they have their own stores, and to ship some clothes from China to United States, it takes time, patience, and of course duty fees, because they're not getting a small package for one person. They basically are paying for containers full of clothes to get this to United States and sell in their stores throughout the whole country. And that's why they paid $205 million for this duty fees. And of course, there is a huge problem not only with the shipping and with the poor quality, I guess, of these materials, but the labor, the cost of labor. And we're going to be talking about Chinese labor and Cambodia, India, Vietnamese people. Most of these Asian countries, they're providing, I guess, some source of really low cost labor for such companies as H&M, Sheen, and other more. And even luxury companies, but we're going to talk about this a little bit later. Those workers are paid chicken peas, I guess maybe even less than $1 per 1 hour, and they have to work from 14 to 16 hours a day, which is crazy. And it actually leads to some overtime schedules, but they have to stay because the money that they're getting is not enough to leave. And another reason, because they're threatened to be fired if they're not living to work overtime, manufacture all this clothes. And that is the main problem with them. Sometimes people work 7 hours, 14, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. So they have basically no holidays, no celebration, nothing. They're literally working every single day, which is really sad to understand that it's still happening in the modern world, where countries, let's say, of the first world, it's called like first, second, and third world, they are taking advantage of some countries that are not capable to provide great jobs for their citizens, nationality, for their people. And that is the main reason why, I guess, a lot of, let's say, influencers and YouTubers are talking about this problem. But still, I am guilty myself, because I used to purchase some products from Sheen and I guess H&M, all of these companies. And the problem is that you are not able to choose from other brands, because I don't really know what are those brands that are not using cheap labor. And at the same time, I guess if these companies are available, most of the time, I believe the cost of their clothes is going to be extremely high. But I don't really know. What about luxury brands? They have the same problem and the same tendency for not paying enough for their labor. And New York Times investigated this problem a couple of years ago. And that's what they said. They found that some workers in Italy were making garments for luxury products such as Max Mara, Louis Vuitton, and Fendi. And they were doing so from their home as little as €2 an hour, and without contract or insurance. And €2 per hour. If they work 8 hours, but they don't, per day, that means they're going to earn €16 a day. It's crazy, guys. Let's see it from a little bit different perspective with the prices right now, with the economy crisis. No one can live and survive on this low cost. And here comes a Dior scandal that happened probably a couple of months ago, maybe even more than that, maybe a year ago. I don't remember, guys. I don't really know when this happened, unfortunately. I guess it did happen a couple of months ago. I have an article from Fortune, and they were talking about the problem and investigation. You know that Dior is a part of conglomerate, and this is a part of LVMH conglomerate, where a lot of other subsidiary companies, as Gucci and luxury products, are a part, I guess, of this conglomerate. And what happened? People found out Dior hired some other subsidiary companies that turned out to be Chinese companies working with leather and maybe some other materials. And while they hired those companies were operating under their name, I guess, or something like that. And some of these workers were not only immigrants, and they worked in Milan, if I'm not mistaken, in Italy, but another real huge issue was that they literally had no hygiene and health conditions to work, actually below minimum, and that they required certain, let's say, approach. All of this immigrants, and most of them there were illegal immigrants, they had to stay 24-hour their working place, because if they were needed, they would need to work any time of the day, any time of night. And that is so crazy, because they were not even provided with the safety devices, because they were slowing down the work, let's say, they were providing. That was the main reason those machines were took off the manufacturer, so they could work faster. And unfortunately, some of the products they were creating, the real cost was 53 euros, or at least $57, and eventually these products were sold at the price tag 2,600 euros, or $2,794. Those numbers I took from the article on the official website of Fortune. And unfortunately, the biggest problem is LVMH is kind of not even participating in this illegal activity. Not even unfortunately, but they were sort of accused, because they're part of the conglomerate. Dior is part of conglomerate, but Dior is not even participating in this investigation as well, because they hired some other companies, those Chinese companies. They were kind of operating sort of behind their backs, and sort of they're not in charge of those workers. And that's how this situation works, and that's how the brands are operating nowadays. And we're talking about luxury products. So what do you want to get from fast fashion companies that are just purchasing some products, if luxury products with billions of money are doing shady business as well? It does look shady. Another problem happened with LVMH when they were creating some, let's say, not even products, but some materials made of cotton. And of course, they needed some trees, and lots of forests were took down to create cotton for materials. And LVMH donated a couple of months ago, or maybe a year ago, like a weird amount of money. I don't want to lie, but maybe like $1 million or a couple of $1 million, when the income of the company was a couple of billion of dollars or euros. I don't remember. And that is the main reason why I guess a lot of politicians are not seeing the problem that these fashion companies are causing to ecology, to economics as well. Because maybe for economics, it's really good because they're selling some product, people are paying taxes. And that's why it's really good for economics. But at the same time, it's really bad for ecology. And our, let's say, governments are trying to protect ecology as they claim, though I don't really believe them. And right now, I want to real quick talk about really interesting issue. A lot of luxury products right now are operating based on trends that they see in TikTok. And I saw a couple of videos from other influencers and even like YouTubers that were saying this is a huge problem, not only for fast fashion companies as H&M, but a lot of luxury products that are actually collaborating with fast fashion companies as H&M. The main reason behind this is the economy, the crisis that is happening right now with all this, let's say, sanctions and border closures and other problems. It's really hard to keep up with the demand and still create quality products and still pay high wages and still get as much money as they were making years ago. That's why they most of luxury products, they're produced in materials and clothes made of poor quality like polyester, then they will not pay their workers most of the time, and they will manufacture their stuff in China or Italy, somewhere that the labor is cheaper. They will follow some trends that they see over TikTok, and this is really weird to see a lot of these influencers, while they're promoting Sheen stuff and huge holes, they're at the same time promoted to their audience, and the audience is buying whatever influencers are telling them. And those companies, they're forced to see what is really trending right now through internet before they create something new. And I saw a couple of videos from TikTokers, and those were former workers of Louis Vuitton or Prada or other like luxury shops, and they said the quality of those products that were selling was super weird and poor, let's say, quality. And it wasn't real leather, not as maybe years ago, but it was fake leather most of the time, and it's still fake leather used in these bags, for example, or boots. And I remember she said, one of those TikTokers said, a customer came over and showed her payment, showed the bill, and she said that something was wrong with her bag and the quality is bad, and she asked for money for a return or something like that. And this was a huge problem for a company because they know the quality is poor, and it's made of some fake leather, it's made of polyester, and then people purchase some luxury product, they expect something extremely good. They expect this quality to be really good. But when they get something like this, and especially I saw this girl talking about her shoes. She purchased some shoes for her wedding, those heels, and she wore them once for the fitting, and they started falling off. She reached out to the company, from mistaken it was Jimmy Choo. From mistaken it was Jimmy Choo. And she reached out to this Jimmy Choo company. First of all, the service, she said, was extremely poor because no one really wanted to talk to her and figure out what was the issue and real problem. They were not interested in her at all. They offered some other options, and she said that she didn't really want to get another pair of shoes because the quality was really poor. She wanted to get her money back. And they said, well, you had, if I'm mistaken, 2 weeks to return your shoes, but he didn't do this. And she said, yeah, because I wore them for the first time. It was the fit-in that happened a couple more weeks later than she purchased these shoes, and they said that they wouldn't return those shoes or those money to her. And that explains a lot about the quality, about the company itself. I mean, years ago, hundreds of years ago, when the company was founded, people did care about quality, and they did care to invent something interesting and new that would help people. But right now, it's basically a cash grab, and of course, a lot of companies, they don't really want to lose their profit. Most of the time, they're concentrated on the income, and they don't really care about quality, about even laws, how to protect their own workers, and they're just taking money. I feel maybe the problem started when these huge conglomerates started operating and started buying out these luxury products. And maybe this is the policy of conglomerates, not even the real companies, because those companies are not able to have the last word, to have the last vote. The conglomerate is going to have it for you. And conglomerate is focused on the profit. They're not focused on quality, and especially on providing any sort of work environment. And what do you think, guys? I don't really think a lot of these luxury companies are going to survive, because people eventually going to find out their own ways how to deal with this foolishness, and maybe they're just going to drop some prices, or maybe they're going to reconsider the material, the quality, maybe they're going to reconsider the labor problem and issue. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Love you all so much, guys, and I hope I'm going to see you and hear from you in my next podcast. That's fine with me. Till my next time. Bye bye.